Hello, viewers who are also gravitrons. I'm more gravity. Let's play chess. I finished this game maybe 5 minutes ago. I don't know. This one's actually more like 15 minutes, 15 or 20 minutes ago. And I won with the black pieces. Let's take a look at the game. Queen's pawn. So some traditional Queen's Gambit lines with c6 here. This is the Slav opening or defense against Queen's Gambit. And bishop to f4, then knight to f6, e3, all well-known book moves. And now a little bit out of the ordinary here, I played bishop to g4, the direct attack against my opponent's queen. One reason you might do this is to try to induce your opponent to do something a little funky, like f3. More often we'll see bishop e2 or knight to f3, and black will have cured himself of a traditional illness in the Queen's Gambit declined. And that's a trapped or stuck, really, a stuck light squared bishop with all these pawns on light squares. So even if, say, knight to f3, which is a fine move here, then black is going to be okay with bishop takes f3, or kind of like milk that idea if there's anything else to squeeze out of the position before pretty much unloading the light squared bishop. So knight f3, knight d7, knight c3, just solid standard looking moves. E6 right now, like the pawn formation with all these light squared, with all these pawns on light squares, is built behind our light squared bishop. That's the main key. Then, yeah, so pawn h3 puts the question to this idea, doesn't it? Because if I'm really going to be ditching my bishop on f3, then wouldn't I do it right here? And I looked at the position, and I thought black's doing fine with bishop h5. The evaluation bar disagrees, so maybe I was better off with bishop takes f3 here, and then probably maneuvering into it's the type of position that will find some kind of endgame. But I played bishop h5, and after g4, bishop g6. If I can ever get a castle in after moving my dark squared bishop, I have this most sturdy structures here on black's king side. But white is pressing the issue earlier than that with pawn to g5, knight e4, knight takes e4, pawn takes e4, knight e5. It's just a blunder because I want to capture on e5 and settle the remaining position. Winning, yeah, no, this is more a cause for more volume. I trade the knights, but then the best moves leave white without this pawn and this queen. So that's 10 points of material in black's favor. So I went on to finish that game against computer. I'll just kind of click through this. This is against computer after my opponent resigned, and you see the game is very lopsided and eventually checkmate. This shows that even adding or especially adding the practice first computer, the game remains accurate. All right. All right. This game here. This is the same opponent that in the next game that followed the game we just reviewed. I played pawn to e4, c4. Basically, black is occupying and fortifying the sides of the board, I guess you would say. The wings of the board, and white is occupying and controlling the center, and very strongly so. So this is very classical, classical chess meets hypermodern approach. E5 and perhaps bishop e2 missed a good idea here for white. Let's consult with the analysis to see what I might have better played. Rook h3. The rook lift is very strong here. I believe that. The rook is. I think the idea is just after rook to h3, white's rook is just really well placed. Early in the game, rooks aren't usually active until the middle or late portions of the game. Having a rook exert his influence as early as move 6 here for white claims more squares and allows for more tactics to kind of fall into white's side of the board, in white's favor, really. Anyway, that's good. I played bishop e2, which isn't all that bad from a developing perspective. Yes, I knew playing bishop h2 that bishop takes g2 was possible for black immediately. I'm just going to play rook h2 to that and not really worry all that much about this rook who's going to be hard to attack. The pawn is gone. I think white's doing fine without the g2 pawn. Bishop takes h5, pawn takes h5, queen takes h5, bishop takes g2. It's actually not a good move because when the bishop retreats after rook to h2, a fine retreating square, b7, white shows that he's aware of the position with pawn to e6, threatening checkmate. This threatens immediate checkmate. Rook f8 will. Let's do it. Pawn to e6. Here's a bit about. It's an unexpected move, right? When I played pawn to e5 earlier, I wasn't thinking, in a few moves I'll play e6 and have a checkmate threat levied against my opponent as a result. That wasn't the deal with pawn to e5. Way different from that. I think I was trying to push the knight at f6 off its natural developing square. So sometimes we have to widen our search. Or if you widen your search regularly, I do a pretty good job of this, frankly, and we'll find moves like pawn to e6 here that aren't necessarily. This is not a natural move. Okay, this is only made possible or sensible by way of the queen being on h5, and that pawn to e6 is therefore pinning the f7 pawn while also attacking the f7 pawn a second time. Widening your search, sometimes you want to do this if the game is very important to you and maybe you're up against the ropes. Widen your search. I would recommend it in that situation. Rook to f8, right? Black is under a bit of an attack. Queen takes f7, both grabs the pawn on, queen takes h7, both grabs the pawn on h7 and threatens the minor piece on and threatens the minor piece on g7. Accurate chess. This is accurate chess. We're playing bishop to h6. And then the rook saves himself. White realizes the opportunity for checkmate on f7. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Gravitrons. I'm More Gravity. Have a great night.